Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing today? I'll give you guys a chance to get in and take your seat. And if you wouldn't mind, please typing into the chat that you can hear me. Appreciate that very much. I do see people coming in. Hello, Miles. Robert, Ed. So I assume that you can hear me fine. Good morning, John. So it's Fed Day today, meaning we've got the FOMC statement at 2 p.m. Eastern, and the markets are kind of trading like that, it seems. We're on the verge of opening up here, heads up on a potential long on the Dow Mini at 33,816. Still got a few seconds to go. That'll be a get in sync setup to go long on the YM 816, 847 being target one, and the primary target is going to have to get through both moving averages to hit it, but that is the trade. Money management will be at 44. We got crude oil in its second trade as well. The markets have just opened up. So if it comes back up, 33,816, the long on the YM. Crude oil got short on the 9 a.m. mini session, then flipped over to long. So losing on that first trade with the 2-tick adjustment, getting long at 63.68. 63.68, targeting target 1, 86, and target 2, 98. Here comes the YM getting long. Again, targeting 80 first target, and the stop is at 34. I'm sorry, wrong chart. The stop is at 77. So the stop is actually 2 ticks below, 2 points below the low of the day. Pretty good sized trade here. Also of note, the pound Aussie missed getting barely. It's been a game of inches with the pound Aussie, at least on the trade station chart. And I understand that depending on one's broker, could have got filled on that. You never know when they manipulate the spread the way they do. But that is now long. And the YM stopping out. So unfortunately, first trade of the morning on the YM, a rare loser, which usually it wins, but not today. All right, so the pound Aussie long at 79.21. Got some nice targets there if it starts working its way higher. 79.40, 51, 61, and 72. Been working through my fast testing with the euro yen. I'm not impressed. There are some really nice sessions sometimes, but it's just too inconsistent and too slow. I don't think it's going to pass scrutiny or rise to the top of something that we're going to be interested in. Unfortunately, the euro yen just not what it used to be. And unleaded gas also losing on its first trade this morning. So tough session so far, although crude oil can still pull it out if it can win on this yellow trade, perhaps. And we'll see what happens with the YM. Missing a short here. The exhaustion dots are just too far away from the yellow line, so no short. And that's about it so far this morning. Take a look at soybeans. Soybeans on counterpunch. So a lot of fast action on soybeans going all the way back. If you're starting out at 8:30, this trade was way too fast. Only 1 second to get in. This white trade looks to be the one. Well, that was pretty fast too. I mean, I guess you had a chance to grab it. Yeah. – 15 seconds maybe a little less. So a tough trade. Soybeans just on the move. Maybe this green trade. I mean, these were quick trades. The green trade, the white trade, this green trade. Even these add-on setups, every one of them winning. So somewhere in this soybean mix of trades is a winning trade. Somewhere, which one? Choose. But that's power of quitting at some point. One of those trades is tradable. It's a matter of how well practiced. You can see it's long again. Soybeans with a fast session. Kind of interesting. So crude oil did hit its money management level. And remember the adjusted entry at 68, so stops should move to 69 on crude oil, although it did not yet hit its target. Crude oil was short at 49, long at 68, so 19 ticks it lost. If we can get to target 1, it's going to be probably a little behind schedule still not totally positive, almost break even. Heads up on the YM, a new long trade. You probably should adjust the entry, 56. It's a pretty big adjustment all the way up to 60. But I do think you want to get it around that little swing level there. Yeah, it's a tough one. Maybe 61 even. Big adjustment. But you want to avoid getting long if it can't break through. So I hate adjustments like that, but I think you have to do it in this case. If it gets long, it's targeting, well, it's a much smaller target, but it's definitely targeting 775. And the stop is at 729. But it's been making new lows since the session opened. Is this a consolidation or is it starting to form a bottom for the This could be a momentary bottom forming in here. It's hard to say. 2, yeah. Probably will test these lows again, I'm guessing. So tough adjustment, but I think you have to make it. Probably because it's such a small trade, you'd want to go to target 2 on this one, especially with that bigger adjustment. And if you have any questions, of course, type them in. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget, tomorrow, still didn't click in at 61. Looks like it's going to any second. Tomorrow, there it is. It did trigger in. Trade hacking session number 2. We're going to do another one. 12 noon Eastern. And if you haven't joined our trade hacking club on Discord, you're certainly invited to do so. You'll see the link at the top of the description of this live stream. Some of the other videos, some of the other recent videos. Let's see if we have any attempt to get higher here on the YM. So far down 120 some odd points. Money management is at 73. And it did just hit money management and target 1. Not a really good place to put your stop, because if you made that big adjustment, you don't want to get stopped out of the trade. You might want to hide your stop a little bit below 60 and still have a little bit of risk on it. Give it every chance it can to get to its next target. Got some resistance to work through here. Hopefully it can. And crude oil stopped out at 69. Again, the adjustments sometimes mess up that money management. If you didn't move your stop to 69 and just kept it at 68 or 67 even, which is the unadjusted level, you'd still be in the trade. You'd also have a couple ticks of risk on the trade. There's a short now on the unleaded gas, 2.0524. Targeting 0469, 439, 409, and 379. And the stop is at 2.0591. Let's see what could happen. We can get a winner on unleaded. You see the YM trying to get up to that 50 moving average, and then we'll see if it could punch through or not. It's trying. Pam W., I'm showing the continuous chart just for convenience. You cannot trade with a continuous chart. I would recommend always having the actual front month contract. It could be a little bit different than the data from the continuous chart. But just for me and for project and showing the chart. It's just more convenient because this is my travel computer. I'm not always on it. If you look, yeah, 58 is a stop now on the unadjusted stop on the YM. Was unable to get up to, yeah, stopped out at 50 moving average. Bit of a roadblock there. And it looks like you're going to have a short on crude. So there's only been one loss, a break even, and now a short on crude at 67, targeting 5.4 and 4.6 with a stop at 8.6 if crude triggers in. So not the most friendly of sessions. So Pamela, back to you. It's a 1.25. It's a 5-tick momentum bar. Maybe it's too fast. You could look at a 1.5, a 1.5, because look how fast this went. I haven't been following soybeans as diligently as I have in the past. It's just because just got many things that I'm working on. So I don't know. Give it a try. It's a July contract. You can see the continuous chart is on the July contract. N as in Nancy, I believe, is July. I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. You know, big trading quite sometimes our old friend Bill Miller. Bill Miller. Not sure what happened to Bill. I hope he's okay and that we hear from him again. But he sent me an email once after trading soybeans for a full straight year. I forget when, back in 2016, and he was killing it. He loved that market. And it doesn't look any different today. Put it on the same plan, the same chart, the same everything, and it just kind of looks the same. So I'm assuming it's just doing what it does. Some things just keep working. Okay, crude oil getting short. Just a reminder again, in about 30 minutes or so, we'll shut this session down and then we'll reopen it for the crude oil session. There's a short now on the YM at 54. Make it 53. Get it off that moving average. And the stop is at 82. Targeting a small target at 36 and then 25. All right, the YM is canceled. Cancel that short. Never triggered in. Wait for a new one on that one. Yeah, Andrew, I can do that actually. I'm gonna have to open that chart. Let's see. Give me a moment. I have to remember where it is. 1 second. Yeah, I gotta figure out where I put it. 1 second. Okay, I didn't mean to open it up here. Again, I'm mobile, so I don't have the same dexterity that I normally do when I'm at my home office. We'll give that a chance to open up. I think it's this one. Yeah. Well, I do want to keep my eye on what's happening here. Let's see if this is the one. Yeah. So that looks pretty good, doesn't it? That looks good. So these are the inputs. If you want to go ahead and take a screenshot, it's using trend mode. So you're not going to get, like with trend mode, with Counterpunch Express 2, there's no way, first of all, there's no automation for Counterpunch Express 2. So there's no way to get the same, it's not going to be the same. Also, with trend mode, the Counterpunch Trader is going to be able to give you the results. You can see these are what I showed you last when I optimized, like the last video I did, I optimized the trend mode indicator. You're going to have to do that manually. With Counterpunch Express 2, you just got to remember, line is blue, don't go short. Line is red, don't go long, only go short. And if it changes, you can get in sync with the trade. Okay, so those are things you need to know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why you would want to use Thinkorswim charts. That to me is just like, what's the point? If you have TradeStation, do you want to drive a horse and buggy or do you want to drive a Mercedes? I don't know if TradeStation's a Mercedes. Maybe it's more like a Volkswagen. But Thinkorswim, that's a horse and buggy. So really? I don't know. I don't see the point in that. Okay, so anyway, if you want to copy the inputs, take a screenshot, and then let me know when you have that, and then I'll scoot it down and give you the rest of it. Again, this is a full Counterpunch Trader, so there's going to be a lot of inputs in here that are not in the Counterpunch Express 2. Those are the things you're going to have to know how to do manually. TradingView is a Tesla? I don't know. I'd say TradingView is more like an ox and a cart of lumber. I don't know if I'd call it a Tesla. That's giving it a lot of credit. All right, so there's the other. And the thing is, like, for example, squeeze filter, chop filter. You got to know what that is. You have to learn that and then manually prevent yourself from taking trades based on, Counterpunch Express too. You could use those filters, but it's not going to tell you that it's filtered. You have to know that. It's an entry level Counterpunch system. It's got all the great setups, but all the tools that you got to do on your own. All this stuff on the bottom, don't worry about it because this is a swing trade chart, so none of these things apply. But you can see I don't have the key levels turned on anyway, so they're not even in there. The main thing I think that was interesting was the entry offset is $1.55, and the directional indicator, you change it to a 42. That was different. And the stop, well, the stop's only 2. That's really small, but it works. There was a stop and reverse adjustment. That's another thing you're going to have to do manually. So the thing is, Andrew, is you look at these inputs and the ones that you do not have, you want to make a note of, because that is part of the rules of your trade plan. And those are the things you would have to remember to do and take care of on your own when you're trading manually. Yeah, so that's the important thing. The inputs tell you the trade plan. Now, as far as the YM, there's nothing to really tell you. It's the default settings. You could use a 377 tick chart. You can use a 14-point momentum bar. I really like that. Some people like the 12. I think that's too fast. So, I would compare the two between the 377 tick and a 14-point momentum bar, and fast test both and see which ones you can quit positive most of the time. Yeah, it's simple. But again, with Counterpunch Express 2, you have to know the key level adjustments. So it's typical. We adjust around 5s and 0s like we have always done. And it's also trend mode. In Counterpunch Trader, I use trend mode with the YM. I haven't used Counterpunch Trader with the YM for a long time. So admittedly, you're going to have to do your own testing on it because Spotlight's just newer. So I went to Spotlight, and I love how the Spotlight's been awesome with the YM. So, but it always worked well with Counterpunch as well. And I don't know about the 14-point momentum bar, if that would be trend mode or standard mode. That I don't know. Yeah, well, good. Enjoying testing smart, because that's how you build belief in something. That's how you get understanding of it. But then I would ask you, if don't be the guy in the one-legged butt kicking contest when everyone else has 2 legs. So, that's kind of how I compare Thinkorswim charts to the TradeStation charts, because with TradeStation you could look back, you can get all the data, you can mark up your charts really easy, you can use hotkeys. There's so much you can do with it. With Thinkorswim charts, it's like pulling teeth. Basically, you're the guy in the one-legged butt kicking contest. You're hopping around on one leg, everyone else has 2 legs. So imagine that image and then decide if you want to be that guy. That's I don't know how else to explain the Thinkorswim charting, but I think that kind of sums it up. If anyone disagrees, let me know. I know some people are just really good. They've used it probably way better than me, but those are my initial thoughts. Well, they're not even initial thoughts. They're like long-held beliefs. So pretty unimpressive session so far. Crude oil's been range bound since we started. The YM had that small little winner. after the first initial loss, which was quite a bit larger, waiting for a third trade. Pound Aussie working its way back to its entry, just really slow. We got the FOMC statement coming up later, and that's probably affecting the way the markets are trading right now. Giancarlo, if our trade plan is one and done and we are on a short trade, but we get a stop and reverse long, do we get out at the stop and reverse, or do we wait and get out at the original stop? Yeah, that's a great question. Well, okay, so first of all, when you say one and done, you're referring to win or lose, one and done, whether it wins or loses, not trying to win the first trade, power of quitting one. You're talking one and done. So that's what I'm assuming you mean. If I'm wrong, let me know. As far as if you're going to use it, for me, well, it all depends on what you tested. I mean, going one and done, that's pretty easy to test, right? You're only looking at the first trade of every session. You should look at 100 sessions. How long will that take you? Not long. And then from that testing, you should make up your mind if you're going to get out at the adjusted entry of the reversing trade or not. My initial thoughts would be yes. You would get out. You'd cut your losses, and that would be the end. Sometimes you will wish you didn't. Other times you'll be very happy you did. You lost, but you lost less. So my best guess, and of course there's no way to know without testing, is that if you were to test both ideas, which would not be hard, again, there's only one trade, you'd probably have half a dozen over here and 6 over there in the end. Completely different outcomes, and it would probably all balance out. That's just my guess, give or take. A little bit on one side, a little bit on the other, and it's only based on the sample set that you tested. Doesn't guarantee anything going forward. The benefits of stopping out on the stop and reverse are a few things. One, it cuts your loss. Two, the trade printed in the opposite direction for a reason. And a lot of times that's a good thing. And then the third benefit is that it shortens your session. You finish sooner. So those are 3 benefits. So if it's 6 over here and half a dozen over there, and it ends up kind of being the same in the end, results-wise, over a lot of sessions, then why not choose the one that's shorter? So that's kind of my way of thinking. That, you know what? That's trade hacking thinking. Does that make sense? I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'll wait until you... Yeah, okay. It was a good question. Hopefully the answer is good for you too. On the YM, if the blue trade was enabled, the dark blue trade off the 20 SMA, then we would have had a short here like this. Definitely breaking to new lows. The yellow trade, unfortunately, canceled, and if it didn't cancel, it would have been a nice winner. Bad luck there. A little bit out of sync, it seems, the way the session's going. And the pound Aussie's just been rough. It's been like range bound and up and down on the bigger long-term charts, and just thinking it's going to get back in sync. Probably by the time everyone bails out is when it'll be the big winning streak of the century. Who knows? It's usually how it works. And also then the whole, Forex is just hard in general because every broker makes their own market. They can manipulate the spread. They're not your friend. So one chart wins, another chart loses, the exact same trade, different broker, different data. It's tough. Definitely tough. Got about 10 more minutes or so before we shut this down and then reopen for the crude oil report. Crude oil report is got another ingredient in the recipe today with the FOMC statement looming. We'll see how that plays out. I know several more people have joined, so let me just welcome you all again. If you are coming in a little bit later, if you don't mind hitting the like button, would certainly appreciate that. And don't forget, if you have not yet joined our Trade Hacking Club trader community on our new Discord channel, the link is in the session notes of this session. You could find it. Just click on it and join. Hey, Bob, good morning. Another thing I always like to bear in mind, and we've seen this a lot on a lot of different markets, but particularly crude oil, that when the morning is choppy, quite often you get really nice trades later in the session. So just because the trading's been kind of crappy early on with crude doesn't mean anything regarding the crude oil report. So that's another point. Although it could be crappy too. We don't know. Yeah, pound Aussie looks to me like it wants to go down. I mean, it was unable to go up, making a lower high. That 50 is pushing down. It looking like it's going to want to curl down further. And this pound Aussie trade, I'll be surprised if it survives. You never know. It could. Things can change. But we're in sub-zero territory, as you can see here. Yeah. You never know. Definitely found support on that 50 moving average for quite some time here. And now it's just kind of still vacillating around it. But it looks to me like it's pushing lower. Again, it could change. It could find support and move higher again. So if you do happen to have any more questions, I'm going to encourage you to ask them now, because in a few minutes we'll shut this down so that I can get ready for the crude oil report and reopen. Okay, the YM with the long trade. Again, is there any upside to this market? 736, targeting 764 and 780. Stop is at 98. Again, a new low of the day on that stop. crude oil stopping out, so the 9 a.m. session not successful this morning. 2 losses, 1 break even. And crude oil's been fantastic lately. Was due for a garbage session. The YM also. The YM did trigger in long. Also, unleaded gas under pressure. So, nothing really working very well this morning. Soybeans. It's really the only thing that really is positive so far. Every now and then you get a session like this where nothing seems to want to work. It's just one of those days. Pound Aussie, the jury's still out, but it's under pressure too and wants to head lower. And in case I didn't mention it, money management on the YM is at 761. 761 will have to punch through that brick wall of a 50 moving average, which seems to have been a roadblock on many of these charts this morning. Mark that with that line there. All right, everybody. So another minute or so, I'm going to close down and reopen a few moments later once I get set up. All right, then, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the session. See you in a little while for the crude oil report.